At 14 years old, 15 years old, I found myself depressed. I was really obviously going nowhere. I hired this mentor. I spent a lot of money speaking to him. I spent $7,000 for 1 hour of conversation. We are meant to fight and kill and defend and fuck and procreate. We are just so soft.
Every single time I go to Instagram, I see that there is like another third war coming, or there is like another revolution in like a country or so, or whatever. And with this COVID, I'm not even going to get into like many conspiracies, but
masculinity and being a man is kind of like demonized right now. You have to be so hard on yourself that no one else can faze you, because everyone else is going to be hard on you and won't give a fuck. I thought that what I wanted was for girls to like me and for men to respect me, but what I really wanted was just to respect myself. Listener, if you don't listen to us right now, and so many people will just go to their deathbed miserable, their family will hate them and not want to be around them, and they'll be happy that they died.
He was around 14 years old when he found himself depressed and lacking purpose. He was terrified, he felt weak, and was feeling ashamed of himself. He didn't know what to do, and one thing kept his motivation alive, and that was hope. Alex invested all of his time and energy into self-development. For 14 years, from 2011 until 2020, he traveled the world about 95% of the time, he says. He slept on the ground, was even homeless at some point, and also he invested, found coaches, and traveled pretty much all the time. This man turned that depression into hunger, and he thrived for a purpose. This, ladies and gentlemen, was an absolutely powerful conversation we've had, and we talk about how and why the world has got so soft lately, why you got to put yourself in the face of adversity, and how the whole Hollywood is programming men to become weak, beta, sex-dependent dorks, and much more. But I'll leave you guys to it, and with that said, ladies and gentlemen, Alex Walton. You are listening to The Grateful Show with your hosts Pascu
and Bogdan. Join us on our mission to spread awareness around mental health and make people feel happier and overall more grateful.
Each week, we bring you an inspiring guest, stories, and a message that will help you become your best self and pursue your life mission. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of The Grateful Show. I hope you guys are doing amazing, because if you're not, you're just about to be, because today we have no one other than Alex Walton. How is it going, brother?
It's beautiful, man. It's great to talk to you. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. And just to give a bit, I guess, of brief introduction to how we met. We basically were meant to do this podcast for the past 6 months or so, but we just been caught up with different things. But finally, we have you on. And just to break the ice, Alex, I wanted to ask you, what are you grateful for today?
Wow, great question, man. Great question. For me, I think what I'm grateful for is steps that I took back in the day. So I'm really grateful that I decided 14 years ago or so to like do something different than what I was feeling and what I saw around me, because now it's still in my life and I feel I'm the same person in some ways and very different in other ways, but I have such a better quality of life, and I'm really grateful that it feels effortless now to do that because of all the work that I did back then.
Awesome. That's beautiful and powerful. Before we dive any deeper into that part, because you were mentioning that you chose to do something that was different from what you were feeling, and I want to dive in that deeper later on. But before that, for our audience, can you give us like a 3 to 4 minutes introduction into who Alex is and how did you come to be where you are now?
Yeah, sure. So this is going to be, by the way, the first thing you should know is it's 1 a.m. in the morning. I've been drinking for the past 6 hours with a date who just left, and we had a very nice time. She's a beautiful, nice lady, and we had, and now I'm just really excited because I've been looking forward to this for months. So that's the context. I just moved to Texas. I grew up in California. I spent 2020 in California with my family. but from the years 2011 until 2020, I was outside of the United States for about 95% of the time. I only came back for like 2 or 3 holidays in 8 years. So I was in Europe a lot of time close to you, actually near Budapest and Ukraine. And I really love that area of the world. It's my favorite place to be, actually, top number one so far. I haven't been to Romania yet, so I'm curious, but I'll definitely come, of course, and see you when I go. So I've been traveling a lot. Really, the important part that you need to know is very simple. I'm just kind of tired of talking about it. That's why I'm talking about, all this other shit. Also, I've been drinking. But at 14 years old, 15 years old, I found myself depressed. I was really obviously going nowhere. To me, I could tell I'm going nowhere. I can't talk to men. I can't talk to women. I'm terrified all the time. My family relationship is weak. I feel weak. I look at myself in the mirror. I'm ashamed of who I see. And I hate myself. This is going in a bad way. I'm going to be homeless. I'm going to go to jail. I'm going to kill myself accidentally, maybe, or on purpose. And it's just going bad ways. I always knew from very young, I wanted and needed to do something that was interesting to me and different and not just skate by. Like I wanted to do something special to me. I wanted to feel something unique. I wanted to do something that that was meaningful. So anyway, at 14, 15, I found myself, depressed, realizing all this. Oh shit, I'm in high school and there's all these cool people around who know how to navigate the social world and they're comfortable with themselves and they're cool. And I wasn't like that. And I just felt so kind of sheltered and in my bubble. So I made a decision one evening that I was going to do whatever it took to try. Like I wasn't going to give up without trying the most I could. And I was just like, okay, here's the options are like I could give up now, or I already fucking what's the word, like when you're at rock bottom. I was already at rock bottom. So I was like, there's nothing more I could lose. So I might as well just try to put everything in right now. And if I don't make it, probably at least I tried, and I'm going to feel better about it if I give up then. So that's what convinced me to keep going. I kept going. I invested all my time and energy for 14 years into self-development and traveled around the world trying to find coaches and sleeping on the ground, spending all the money I had, taking all the seminars, reading everything I could find, watching all the fucking courses, man. And that was basically what I did for the past 14 years. So now I'm lucky enough. I have people who come to me. They want to, invest their money and energy and time with me. And I can just share them a couple of tips, saves them a few years of traveling the world, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it's pretty fucking gangster. I'm really, really, proud of it and happy. So that's, hope that was about 4 or 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And you should be proud, because what stood out to me is the fact that ever since you're 14, 15, and by the way, I can totally relate to your stories for the people that are listening and know my own story. I used to be more or less in the same position as you were, meaning I was getting into high school. I was 15-ish, and I remember the first couple of weeks when I got into high school, colleagues and like other kids were like, who's this guy? He's like 5 years younger. He's supposed to be like primary school. And that's the only narrative that I had for the first couple of months since I got in high school. And I can definitely relate to that. I don't want to dive into another subject, but it's very interesting to me that you realized ever since you were 14 and 15 that you were going nowhere. And even though there might be people that do that and kind of have a understanding of that since that age, they don't have what it takes to actually be like, fuck it, I'm just going to give whatever it takes, because I'd rather be an oh well it happened rather than what if.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, how was that period, let's say from 14 to 20, because I think that was a very important, I guess, foundational period for you, because once you got to early 20s, it was, I guess, you knew yourself better. But between 14 and 20, I really want to know what happened internally.
So between 14 and 20 was a very rocky period. The good thing about 14 to 20 was I was hopeful.
Mm-hmm.
I had hope,
Mm-hmm.
and hope isn't worth a lot once you already have it. Once you already have it, it's just it's fucking worthless basically.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
if you already have hope, you're like, I need strategy. Well, I don't need any more hope. I need to know what to do now. But if you don't have hope, it's everything. So at the time,
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't. I just didn't feel that there was any hope for me. I thought I'm fucked. I'm not the kind of guy that it gets those results. I'm not the kind of guy who girls like. I'm not the kind of guy who guys respect. I'm not the kind of guy who teachers like. I'm not the kind
Mm-hmm.
of guy who gets good grades, who's
Mm-hmm.
smart, who my parents like. Oh, I
Mm-hmm.
seem to be doing everything wrong from my perspective, and I had bad self-esteem, and so
Mm-hmm.
I was definitely like putting everything through a negative filter and not seeing reality very clearly. If I had been seeing reality a bit more clearly, I would have been probably had a different life. But
Mm-hmm.
I was in a bubble. So
Mm-hmm.
point being, at that time, I had hope finally. So everything that happened between 14 and 20 was under a different lens, and I was hopeful the whole time. So
Mm-hmm.
my life was already changed, and it was a much better life already. But the thing that was bad about it was there was a lot of bullshit that I was learning. Um, at the time, 14, 15. What do you think, listeners, a 14 or 15-year-old boy is interested in learning about in the self-development world? Is it about how to retire at 60 with a nice pension, or is it about how to make your, like, the girl next to you in fucking history class, laugh at your joke? It's that one. And that was all I cared about. Basically, was like, how do I get my friends to respect me, and how do I get girls to like me and to be comfortable with myself?
Mm-hmm.
Really, that was it. That was the
Mm-hmm.
most important thing. I didn't realize it at the time, man, Pascu, but it was being comfortable with myself.
Yeah.
I just wanted that. And I thought that what I wanted was all this respect and attraction and whatever. Really, I just wanted to be comfortable with myself. And then I did everything not knowing that. So for the
Mm-hmm.
next, 10 years, from 14 until 24, 25 or so, I spent just trying to get people to respect me, and from, men to respect me, and to girls to be attracted to me, and try to figure out how do I get people to like me and treat me how I want to be treated, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Only then to realize that it was more about how I felt about myself, and that was like the
Definitely.
most important thing. Yeah.
Listening currently to a book. It's called The Mind of a Millionaire, and there's nothing like extraordinary about a book. It's just more or less the same basic principles that you can find in Think and Grow Rich, Master Key to Riches. But
Sure.
basically, the author keeps mentioning that you have to have one of those affirmations where you acknowledge to yourself that your inner world creates your outer world. And I
Right.
think that people don't really realize that, in a sense that, as you were mentioning, I used to be in the same position. I used to be like, what can I do so that girl thinks I'm attractive? What can I do
Yeah.
so people around me think that I'm cool? And you are trying to change the outside world instead of trying to change the inside world, and that's where the magic happens. And I think by doing that, you basically become that magnet for everyone around you. And I want to dive a bit deeper into the whole, I guess, self-esteem subject, and how you basically, what were the steps, some of the steps that you've had to take in order to increase your self-esteem. Because a lot of people are, when they have low self-esteem, they are in this whole victim mentality where they blame, they judge, and they find excuses. This is like their whole cycle when they have no self-esteem, and they don't know how to escape that. So let's talk about that. How did you basically get to become the boss of your own life, if you want?
Sure. Great questions, man. So in the beginning, it was mostly about finding people who I thought knew something that I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
and were saying something that I hadn't heard before. So I was looking for those types of people. And at that time, I was only interested basically in how do I get people in my high school to respect me and like me and think I'm cool and attractive. And I was 14, like I was a baby. So Oh, that's all I cared about. I didn't care about anything else. So I was only looking at that stuff online. That was around 2007 or something. There was not a lot of great information online. So I spent probably, 7 years or something looking into all this kind of weird fringe information online that was like a mixture of either like seduction information or
Yeah.
pickup or all these like man, whatever it was, man, I don't know what the fucking terms are, man, I don't know, dude. It was weird for the listeners. It was basically nerds online who were trying to figure out how can I mimic cool people and then put on, behaviors and pretend. And that's all that was online. So I was
Mhm.
looking at that stuff as a 14-year-old and going, okay, I guess that's what I have to do, and trying all this stuff. And then eventually, after realizing after many years of trying, going, this is not working, I found different companies, different people, different influences that were better than others. And I started to learn from
Mhm.
them, then going on seminars and then programs and spending money, and eventually starting like to get momentum. And it took about 5 or 6 years, straight up 5 or 6 years before things started to look like, oh, it's
Mhm.
getting, you know, it's having like an effect. But it wasn't even like, oh, it's gonna be awesome from
Yeah,
now
of
on.
course.
It was like, oh, there's finally some evidence that the old past is gone.
And I want to again point out to our audience, Alex hasn't mentioned 5 to 6 weeks, neither 5 to 6 months. He said 5 to 6 years.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people have to realize, that this is not something that happens overnight. As cliche as it sounds, it seems to me that majority of us tend to get caught up in the whole, I guess, negativity loop where you're like, man, I've been doing this thing for like the past couple of months, nothing changed. Like there's definitely something wrong. I have to change something. No, usually you just have to stick to it and see what you can improve. But it's just a matter of doing it consistently. Um,
So
but
real.
I am more than certain that you are aware of Jacko and about what he preaches about self-discipline and
Hmm.
discipline equaling freedom. What's your take on that? And let's dive deeper into how last year has been to you, because I know it's been transformational. And I know that it was really a year that has helped you level up in all areas. So let's talk about that, because I know that that's really, I guess, correlated to discipline overall.
Tell me who is listening. What's your demographic audience like?
Definitely. So it's male predominantly, 70% male, and they're between 17 to 26.
What kind of females are listening? Are they curious
Um,
about you as a person?
yeah,
Pascu?
there are females that are curious about basically how they can become better versions of themselves. So they are more or less
Okay.
aspiring to be like you.
How how um how sensitive is your audience, or are they?
Not very sensitive. We've been talking about all types of stuff, so feel free
Can I be
to
quite
share.
can I be quite harsh?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Because I'm kind of, what I'm feeling, man, is I'm feeling lately like, and even in myself, like everyone's too much of a pussy.
Yeah,
Everyone's
I agree.
everyone's too much silent, too much keeping it quiet, too much politeness. Everyone's trying to be like, just keep within a certain acceptable range of expression. It's all bullshit. We are meant to fight and kill and defend and fuck and procreate. We are just so soft. Our whole, except for like a few uncontacted tribes and shit living in the Amazon or wherever, in maybe some like Romanian jungle, there's some people uncontacted who are just living out there, just hunting for deer and shit like that on their own, and then making clothes out of their hides. But people are soft. Everyone's soft. You go to the market, you get your food. No, and me too. I'm soft, man. I feel soft. I go to the gym as much as I can. When I go, I'm just like, good. I did what I can today. Next day, if I don't go, I look at myself. I'm like, you look at you, you soft bitch. You don't have to go to the fucking hunt anything. You just get your food from the fridge and warm it up in the microwave. You have ready food in 70 seconds. I'm so, and you know what it is? Like, we it's so beautiful that we have that, and I'm so grateful for that convenience. I love that convenience. This is the grateful show, right? I'm so grateful for that. It's not, I wouldn't, I don't want to go live 100,000 years ago and try that. I'm so grateful, but I'm also taking it for granted. And I think it's easy to do that for everyone. So that translates down into many ways, and it translates into your relationships with men and women. It translates into how you make your money and what you do for your purpose. Like, what is your purpose in life? Most people, dude, like, I know you're not this person. I can see how you hustle. You're going to be successful no matter what country you're from, color you are, no matter what happens to you. You're going to figure it out, and you're going to make it happen because I see how you hustle. So for people like yourself, it's gonna happen no matter what. But for most people, it's like they just want to not die and avoid pain and fear. They just want to avoid pain and fear, right? Isn't that most people? I feel like you have something to say. Please talk to me, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem lays in the fact that, yes, definitely we are conditioned by society, by the elites, call it whatever. We are conditioned to become softer and softer. But I think it's also a fact that people don't really realize what we are actually capable of, physically, spiritually, mentally, and they only rely on their feelings. And if they feel like doing that, they will. If they don't feel like that, they won't. If I feel like you hurt my feelings, I'm gonna be upset. Please apologize. If I feel like you're a nice guy, as you were mentioning, everyone has to be polite. I'm gonna be, oh, he's a nice guy. Yeah, I'm gonna be friends with him. And I think this is the problem. I think people are not aware of the fact that those feelings, that most of them are happening in the limbic brain, are meant to only just make you survive, are only made for survival, are only made for, I guess, being able to provide food to yourself, being able to find a shelter, and being able to reproduce. That's it. There's no more than that. And people don't realize that by only listening to your feelings and what you would feel like doing, you won't be really getting any further in life. And I think that also, yeah, definitely the media plays a huge role, and the whole entertainment scene, and where everything is just a fucking distraction these days. And every single time I go to Instagram, I see that there is like another third war coming, or there is like another revolution in like a country or so, or whatever. And with this COVID, I'm not even going to get into like many conspiracies, but literally, dude, literally, like every single day there's something happening, and people are like, oh, you should be afraid, like your finances, your this, your that, are you able to go back to London, like the visa, like this, like that. I'm like, dude, relax. Like, there's everything is just a distraction. As long as you can actually take ownership of what you're currently doing, and as long as you can actually be like, dude, I'm gonna do that no matter what, you will be able to do it. But no, people are like, are you sure? Like, do you think this is a good risk to take? Like, do you think this? Do you think that? And I think it all revolves around the fact that people would rather be comfortable for 70 years and do nothing rather than actually try to prove something within, let's say, less amount of years, because they might get killed. This is what used to happen in the past, right? When you spoke out yourself, there were huge chances of you getting killed. Right now, what is the worst that can happen? You get sued, or like you lose all your money, but you're not gonna get killed, right?
Not, there's certain religions you could attack, and maybe, you could lose your life, but it's not too often. Yeah, or certain governments. Maybe you live in certain countries, North Korea. I don't know, maybe like what's that one,
China,
like
even.
China? Yeah, like there's a couple of kind of close to you, right? What's that? Most of Moldova, maybe
Moldova is pretty. Yeah, it's still in communism as well.
There's a couple of countries, but but mostly not, right? So you can mostly speak your mind. You know what I think, dude? The thing is that scares me, or that I'm kind of concerned with. I just did a story. I was talking about this with the date I was just with. She's I'm sure the kind of girls that you, I don't know if you have a girlfriend or just meet girls, but kind of girls that you probably like connect with intellectually are more tuned in than the other girls,
100%.
right? And they probably get it. So she's kind of one of these girls, and she kind of gets it. She's talking about like the kind of guys who I usually meet, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sure you hear that kind of conversation, right? And so, being that your audience is 70% men, maybe we could talk about that. And I think that it's kind of uncomfortable to talk about for a lot of people, not for us. And it's more uncomfortable for them to hear about it, but it needs to be talked about because no one's saying it. And it's kind of masculinity and being a man is kind of like demonized right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's all about those feminist women that are basically trying to change the whole perception about what a man is.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So
So
what do you think? What do you think that, I guess, coming up men like 18, 19, early 20s should do in order to become the men that they are desired to become, instead of this, I guess, pussy men that the whole media is, I guess, pushing towards everyone nowadays?
Yeah, great question. I think the number one thing is adversity. You got to put yourself in the face of adversity, which sucks. It basically means everything that you want to do, like you can't do the way you want to do things, you can't. It sucks. It basically means like as a kid, you want to like play video games with your friend and eat pizza and like go like make trouble in the town and like sneak beers and stuff like this and flirt with girls. But like it basically means you have to be so hard on yourself that no one else can phase you because everyone else is going to be hard on you and won't give a fuck. So you have to almost accept like fuck, like, because there's no other option, right? That's the truth. If you don't do what we're talking about right now, you could just be some soft bitch with a job and your girlfriend won't respect you, your boss won't respect you, your fucking coworkers won't respect you, even your kids won't respect you, and you'll just be this soft, sensitive bitch, like getting sex as a cookie when you fucking take the trash out, enough times, and your kids don't even respect you. They're like dismissing you, and there's nothing you can do, and you just go and like sit on your little fucking chair and drink your sad beer while your wife is like fantasizing about some other guy probably cheating on you. Guys don't know, dude. Guys have no fucking idea what the reality is if you're not taking action on this shit. You're never gonna have a problem. You are Pascu. Am I saying your name right?
Yeah, yeah.
You're never gonna have a problem, dude. You're always gonna continue to rise. I can see the kind of spirit you have in everything you do. You're never gonna have a problem. But you're meanwhile spending your valuable time talking to these people who are listening, probably like 90% of which are never going to fucking take action. And I hope that changes their mind. And they're watching you and they're going like, oh, Pascu's taking action. I like how he's doing this shit. Maybe I can be like that. Nah, not unless you do what he's doing. Not unless they follow you and actually do it, man. Because it's ruthless out here, man. It doesn't happen like in the Hollywood movies. People have this idea in their head. It's like the movies. And I'm going to meet the love of my life and she's just going to be with me forever. And that's going to be like a beautiful, perfect relationship, And I don't have to do anything other than get a good job and just meet her. Like Hollywood teaches you to be a dork and to be a fucking nerd and to be clueless with women. And that's going to get you a perfect 10. And that's not how it works.
Pascu made me realize that I completely forgot to plug all the shit that actually matters to you guys. So if you are curious to learn a little bit more about the introduction to the system that I think would help all of you right now in the middle of this chaotic time in history, go to quarantinedomination.com, quarantinedomination.com. You can there download the Quarantine Domination Blueprint. That is where I detailed what I think are the introductory steps and methods to being able to take a time of chaos and uncertainty and use it to your advantage. That could be if you were in the middle of a quarantine, that could be in the middle of a zombie apocalypse, or if you were thrown in a prison in North Korea. It doesn't matter what restrictions were put on you, you can use that chaos to your advantage using very simple principles that are laid out in the Quarantine Domination Blueprint at quarantinedomination.com. It's absolutely free, and it's a pleasure to give that to you. And I think that that's going to help anyone who wants to use uncertainty to their advantage, as opposed to being kind of like quelled or silenced or kind of intimidated, etc. by that environment. So that's free, and there we go. That's that sexy plug that I forgot before. Thanks, bro.
And the problem is, I
Like
definitely agree with everything that you just mentioned. The problem is as well, Alex, that women the same age watch the same movies, and their perception of men changes as well. But it's just at a, I guess, subconscious level that happens, because they think they're attracted to that guy, but in fact they cheat on that guy with another guy that they don't know why they're attracted to him, but like instinctively they are more attracted to that guy. And
yes.
Let's talk about let's say 3 things that people can do to become more disciplined, have better self-esteem. You said one, which is face adversity, which I want to keep. What would be the next 2 things?
Well, we're talking about, give me more context. What type of person are we talking about here? We're talking about anyone, or just like a specific man in a certain age range?
Let's talk about a specific man between 16 to 22, so fairly young.
Tell me a little bit about him.
Is trying to do something. He's in high school. Everyone around him more or less are just having fun, flirting, going on like hookups with like different women, and other people are just playing video games, and like he knows that he should have been doing that, but he doesn't really know what to do, and haven't got like a better circle. So what happens usually, he just falls back into those, I guess, bad circles for him, and they are dragging him down.
Okay, great. So what this person should do is, first of all, let's start with the darkness, Pascu. This could end so badly and dark for you, listener, if you don't listen to us right now. And so many people will just go to their deathbed miserable. Their family will hate them and not want to be around them, and they'll be happy that they died and be like, I'm glad that person's gone, and they will just be forgotten about. And that could be you, listener. So let's hope that that's not you. No one here listening to your show wants to be that. The trouble is that if you don't take action, like hopefully there's not even a single person listening who this happens to, because they're listening to your show. That means they must be a certain high caliber type of person. And let's just hope that never happens. So let's start with that. Let's start with the fact that we're all going to die, and that's going to happen very, very soon, like way more soon than we think right now. It's going to be like this before it's there, and we're just looking back. And this conversation right now is barely even a memory. Them listening, you listener, thank you for listening to us, by the way. And Pascu, beautiful podcast. This guy's a legend. You will barely remember this. It'll be a blip in your imagination. Before you know it, you're on your deathbed looking back, and this is just boom, and then you're gone. And all that matters at that point, once you're gone, is what impact did you leave on the people around you. But before that moment, what matters is, how do you feel going to your deathbed? Because you should feel like, because Da Vinci, fucking got a busted Da Vinci right here. He said, as a well-used day brings happy sleep, so a well-used life brings happy death. So I think that means basically, if you've had those days, I'm sure you have. I know just from seeing how you operate, where you put it all out. You probably did multiple podcasts, editing, networking, saw a girlfriend, met with your family, ate, trained, read, meditated, all the right shit. And when you went to sleep, you had a smile on your face because you're like, I did it all right today. And you're so tired. You're so tired. But when you go to sleep, you're like, oh, this is amazing. And that's how, when you go to death, it should be as well after your life. So that's the whole context that matters most of all. And then what you should do as a young guy is basically take care of your mind, your body, your spirit. figure out your purpose and do it as often as possible. So your purpose is hard to figure out. Life purpose, you can only know that maybe from your deathbed, looking back and having all the context for your whole life. Maybe only then do you know your life purpose. I don't know. I don't know if you can know it living it forward. I think you can live it forward, but you can only kind of know it backward. I don't know. But
Yeah, you can do this exercise as well. Stefan Covey was saying about this exercise in 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He was like, imagine that you are going to see someone that has died and basically they're just about to get buried. And until you get there, you see everyone like sad, crying and all that. And until you get there and face the dead body, you don't know who that person is. And when you get there, you see that it's yourself. What would you want everyone around you to talk about? Like a couple of phrases. What was the impact? What were you like? 3 key characteristics. So I think that this is a exercise that people can do to kind of try to find their purpose.
yes,
Because at the end of the day, once you get there, you can only be like, yeah, well, there's nothing else I can do anymore.
exactly. And so I think basically like young guys, they should take care of their body, dude. They should get in the gym, go do martial arts. They should read, journal. They should be meditating, um, finding some kind of thing that makes them feel, passionate, like something that aside from their purpose, like just for fun, something that's fun and that feels kind of like creative, I think is maybe the word, like something creative. It could be like, music or writing, art. It could be some kind of like, it could even be some, whatever. And then purpose being whatever the mission is right now for you, podcasting maybe, or creating content for the Instagram or running your team, that kind of thing. So moving yourself closer to who you want to be next. If you know who you want to be next, like I'm sure you have an idea and you're doing all the right things. You're reaching out, you send the videos, you podcast, you create content, you network right, you do all the things. So you're locked in on your mission right now. There's many missions and maybe one purpose. So on your mission, you're locked in, doing the right things. And so basically mind, body, spirit, that's what I call the Benjamin Franklin method. That's like, those are the pillars of the Benjamin Franklin method. So if you're just doing what you're already doing right now, and then also doing the things that I know you're doing, but for the listeners, reading, journaling, go to the gym, learn how to fight, learn about psychology, learn about women, learn about how to interact with men, how to make people respect you, how to respect yourself, most of all, how to express yourself. Like learn about the things that really move the world and go to people who know how to do that. I'm not sure if you offer anything like this yet, Pascu, but I'm sure that would be an easy opportunity for you at whatever point you decided to do that, to offer programs, courses, consulting, and I can tell by your work ethic and your integrity that you're someone that a lot of people could learn from. So if whatever point, I don't know if you already offer that or not, I really don't, but if you do,
we don't, it's in the plans. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to plug that I would rate that or recommend that already without even knowing more. But anyway, so that's the idea. For me, that's what worked. Bro, I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars at this point. I spent 14 years obsessed with this shit. 8 of those years traveling the world straight, sleeping on the floor, sometimes in airports, homeless sometimes, on the couch, whatever it took, man, to find the best people in the world I could learn from who understood the shit that I was trying to learn at the time. A lot of that was about social skills with women and also with other men, how to be respected by men and basically attracted to women. And also then eventually, most importantly now, is like how you feel about yourself. I didn't realize that at the time. That's really what I wanted. I thought that what I wanted was for girls to like me and for men to respect me. But what I really wanted was just to respect myself and to love myself. And then you find that out eventually later. And that's a beautiful lesson to come to And then now you also have those other things that you wanted back then too. And you go, cool, now I've got both. And now what's next? And then you find new things to work on. So I just think that's a beautiful journey. And that journey there is so full of options. And the way that I interact with people now, I make friends everywhere I go. I don't ever struggle to make friends. I can land anywhere in the world and I'll have close friends in minutes if I want. Minutes, man. It doesn't take any time at all. And it's not hard at all either. And I'm not bragging because it's not hard. It's easy. It's effortless. And anyone can do this if they confront themselves. And then it's really about like, well, now what's possible? Because most people are just trying to figure out, how can I find one partner who's going to be my one and only, true love. I'll give her my heart and she'll give me hers, and we can just own each other and totally open up. Like, it's going to be perfect love forever. And you know the rest. Hollywood fairy tale.
Right, I truly hope, guys, that this has been valuable so far for you. And if it was so, please do not forget to follow us on Instagram at Grateful Show. And if you are listening on iTunes, or if you have the possibility of rating us on iTunes, we would be deeply appreciative for that. So go to The Grateful Show on iTunes, scroll to the bottom of the page, and just make sure that you give us a 5-star rating review. We'll of course be more than happy to share that, give you a shout out on the show, and much more. So yeah, with that said, back to the show, back to Alex. Definitely. I wanted to ask you, Alex, and I want to see your opinion and I guess explanation on this. Do you think that being rich is selfish?
No. Well,
obviously we are talking about financially rich.
Okay, so I think that being selfish, first of all, is good. I think that people should be selfish. So I should start with that. But I also don't think that being rich is selfish. So I think that being selfish is good, and also that being rich isn't selfish, and you should also try to be rich. So that's probably going against both of the beliefs that most people think.
Why is it good to be selfish, though?
You can't help anyone unless you are coming from a position of strength. Otherwise, you're just manipulating probably to try to get allies. Unless you're operating from a position of strength, what do you have to all you? What's going on? You can't help someone else unless you help yourself first, right? No, dude. Yeah, it's just like there's a lot of like poor people who are slick talkers, right? And they're like, listen, man, what you got to do is this. And when there's nothing that they say works, and they're all also poor, and like that's why,
I was listening to a book the other day, and this guy was like, every single time I get people to my seminar, which is a seminar about basically unblocking your money problems, is some people usually come to me and they're like, Harv, money is not really that important. Like, it's not more important than love. And he's like, you're broke, right? And they're like, well, I'm in a very delicate financial position right now, but no, you're always in a very delicate financial position, right? And they're like, yeah. How did you know? Well, give me 5 minutes and $50 more, and I'll tell you why and how.
Yeah, and honestly, I believe that. I for me, I'm now choosing to make the financial pursuit sort of the next chapter I'd love to conquer, and while maintain also fitness, because like my age, I'm like 29, that has to be the priority as well. But like those two things, and the relationships now, social, that's easy. But for a man, those are the three outer things that I think matter. There's a lot more inner things, mental, emotional, physical, financial, social. But on the outside, it's just basically like your relationship, like health, wealth, relationships, right? So like your money, your girls and friends, and your body, physique, and like how you feel and energy and all that. So right now, I spent the last 14 years on relationships, and I feel very, very, satisfied at least with the progress so far. There's a lot more to go, but I'm good. I don't really need to think about it anymore. It's gonna happen, the progress, without trying now. So now it's money. So I don't have the, I don't, I'm speaking like many of your audience members are thinking and not knowing what does it take to get to the next level now? Because I've been getting by and traveling, but I want to go, I hired this mentor. I spent a lot of money speaking to him. I spent $7,000 for 1 hour of conversation. And he told me, you're going to have a 7-figure business this year if you do this and this and this and this. I want to make his prediction accurate. I know he's legit. I have had clients who's worked with, like, he's legit. I want to make it legit, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know he told me what to do, but I don't see the whole map. So people might be watching this going, I've seen, Gary Vee or someone else say what to do, but I don't see the whole thing. How do I get there? And you basically have to just, like, be uncomfortable, face that, and go, I have to basically go and sit down at the desk. Like, here I am at this, like, wooden desk here, and basically just, like, I'm going to sit here at my desk in the morning and just look at the fucking desk with my, paper and a pen, and just being like, looking at this shit and just not knowing what I'm going to write for like 30 or 60 minutes until some shit starts to come out. And then doing that every single day without fail, of course, with the exception of rest days and whatever, but basically getting back on as soon as possible. That's it. People just don't want to do the work, man. They don't want to sit down and face themselves. That's as simple as I can get. They don't want to face themselves. There's too much they regret. There's too much they're ashamed of. It's too uncomfortable to face the truth. They'd rather die without ever looking at the truth of themselves in the mirror, and they can't look at it. So they just want to just be like, distract themselves. Let me just look at Instagram and post that shit for a million years of my life.
Man, I was speaking upon this subject of you, that people don't want to face themselves. I was speaking to Walton, my co-host and good friend, and we were like, dude, imagine that we do this and everyone in the world takes a hit of a psychedelic drug and they actually face their inner demons and their darkness and their shadow. What would actually happen? Like, imagine Elon Musk or someone very powerful does this, and like everywhere in the atmosphere, there's enough psychedelics for everyone to get a very substantial and life-changing trip. What would happen? Because majority of people are literally just living from a place of like, yeah, I'm just getting by, whatever. Next year, maybe, if not next year, 3 years from now, yeah, I'll be there. Yeah.
Dude, talk more. I want to hear more of your ideas.
And in regards to what you just mentioned, like, it really hit me with the fact that you sit down and literally have no idea what you're gonna write. But even though you don't know what you're gonna write, you still stay there, and some ideas will come. And maybe within a 2 weeks period, you got 6 ideas, and maybe just one of them is decent. But that one idea can change everything. And what I wanted to mention is, again, about how many possibilities are now right there. Like, literally, you just need one of those things, which is called the phone, and you can literally access anything. And majority of the information is more or less for free. The what is for free. And I am a true believer of the fact that once you know your what, like really know it for sure, the how will come, unless you are willing to do what it takes, unless you are willing to I guess go against all odds, against adversity, against what you rather do. I think it will come, and I'm a true believer in that, and all the universe will kind of click for you in a matter of years. But I wanted to ask you, Alex, because there's not a lot of more time left from our conversation. I wanted to ask you, because you are a very open dude, and I know that you've studied yourself, you have done your inner work, but what is one thing that you would change about yourself right now?
Great question. passion. Okay, this is gonna be weird, but I think, given the quick answer, I'm gonna say if I could remove the memory of some of the old patterns, then I think I would be able to transcend like many, many levels without the anchor that holds me back. I think that many of the, and it's a tricky answer because also it's that memory that helps me to understand myself better now and to be a better coach and etc. But being a little bit loose with the definition, the important point that I wanted to bring home is I think that what really holds us back is our memories and kind of anchors of these patterns from the past and how we used to be and how people who we grew up with trained us to be. And we, when you hike up a certain mountain and people start walking this one path all the time, it creates like a groove, and it becomes more people walk there and the more people, and then it becomes like the only place people go unless you're a rebel, because it's like over here is wild grass and here's like this clear dirt. And that's what our mind does. We have the same patterns here. We fall into them easily from the past. So I think I would be curious. I wouldn't, I'm hesitant to change something about myself because I like how things are going, but I would like to test forgetting some of those old patterns and see if I could be a better man. And I think that what everyone can take from that is to confront our old traumas, our old, insecurities, whatever makes us uncomfortable. If it makes you uncomfortable now and you don't know how to deal with it, it's not going to be something that you can easily forget. When you're, 10 years older, 20 years older, 30 years older, or even like months or years away from your deathbed, right there on the edge, 80, 90 years old, whatever, it's not that it'll be less uncomfortable. You will remember yourself at your age right now as you are, and you're going to be kicking yourself and beating yourself up just like you do now, but with 70 years more experience or whatever it is. And it's going to be brutal, and you're going to hate yourself, and you will not even have the strength to take your own life probably. So you're just going to suffer. Like, please don't be one of these people, be the guy, be like Pascu. Hashtag be like Pascu. Be someone who's pursuing your passions and who realizes life is mine. It's once, and I'm going to use it to my advantage. That's going to also help other people, because it's only about you. You've got to be the god of your own life. Fuck all this, like, back to the selfish things. Fuck being selfless. Help others, of course, but only after you're the god of your own world. Because if you're not God, then you're just a fucking homeless simp, and like, you're not going to help anyone. You got to, if you want to really help someone, become a god first. Become someone who can change someone's life with your mere presence. Become someone who can pay someone's mortgage, let's say, without thinking about it and forget. I'm hoping to get there. That kind of thing. Become that. Boom, done. And you will be, when your death will be peaceful, and you'll be like, yes, I did everything I could. You'll be a king being laid to rest in a tomb, and you'll just feel like an amazing, that's how we should look at life. Would you rather think about life the other way, where you're like, I'm scared, I'm going to get old. What am I going to do when I'm fucking blue? What am I going to do? How about, are people going to take care of me? Like, oh, all this bullshit. No, dude, fuck all that. Become a god and get everything you need. Make money the least of the concerns. Make your relationship the least of the concerns. You have to take care of your money, your relationships, and your body, your mind, your body, your spirit. Make sure that's all handled. And then, the rest you got to figure out on your own. But I know that you, Pascu, are gonna nail it already. I'm mostly saying that for the audience. But dude, what a great conversation. I feel like I talked a lot. Maybe I was too drunk for this, but I hope it hit home with the crew.
No,
dude,
it definitely did.
This was beautiful.
It definitely did. I got one more question for you, and I
Please.
think it's going to more or less circle around our whole conversation. And it's a question that we ask each of our guests. So really take your time with it if you need. It basically goes this way. You are minutes before your death. You are on your deathbed. There's no pain involved. You are alone. There's no one around you. You already said goodbye to everyone. And it's just you with yourself. But right before closing your eyes and going onto the other side into the darkness, you have to witness the best version of yourself, the person that you could have become. You see that person, you look them in the eye, you understand and comprehend what could have been possible for you. How would you feel in that moment about yourself and about the life that you've just lived?
Is it okay? So is it given that this guy is better? He lived it better than I did. Did he do it better?
Yes, yes, and no.
Version.
It's the best version of yourself. So you can take it with a grain of salt.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, it's hard to. I could take it two ways. The first way that I interpreted it was that he was better than how I had done it. And to be fair, logically speaking, there's always there could have been always more you could add, that you could go beat yourself up about that shit. And don't do that. There's no point. But, if it was that case, I would have been like, dude, well done. Yeah, outdid me, motherfucker. Not many outdid me, but well done. I would have given him knuckles if he was better. But the other way I took it was, that's who I would be at the end of my life, is the best version. Because I'm not giving up, man. This is a lifelong journey. Most people are looking for a job or a woman to satisfy their end goal, or kids, and that's going to be the thing that gives them peace. Not me, not ever. If I have kids, I hope it's a beautiful experience. I assume it will be, but that's not going to give me peace. It's going to be me that gives me peace if it happens. So I only assume that that's going to come from me, and that's it. And so that's what people have to do. They've got to go challenge themselves, do the shit that's terrifying and that's hard, and the shit that they want to have, but they can't admit to themselves. They have to look in the mirror and face the uncomfortable truth. Record a video yourself and talk about yourself to yourself and watch it and see if you can last watching the whole goddamn thing back. Because I know you do this, and that's not easy, and you learn about yourself every time. Do you not?
Yeah, definitely. And what you can also do, I've done this numerous times, is also, especially when you feel low, when you feel like you're a little bitch and you're like, oh man, everything is going against me. Yeah. Try to record the 15 to 20 minutes video of yourself and just speak everything out loudly and speak to your future self, to your higher self, and try to understand what that person would be saying about the video itself. What would their first thoughts be about you? And that's probably how you should see yourself in that position. I've done this several times, and I literally recorded myself when I was like, yeah, I'm here, 21st of February, 2018, whatever. And in 2 weeks, I'm not going to be able to pay my rent. I don't know what to do. I quit my job and I need to find some clients, and man, it's tough, but I know I'm going to get there. So for you watching right now, Pascu from the future, I know that you've done it. I've got numerous of those videos, and I really don't regret making them, because firstly, it empowers you in that particular moment to look towards that future self. And also, once time passes, you'll laugh back at those videos and gonna be like, man, that's been such a bumpy ride, but it was so worth it.
Yeah, dude.
But Alex, before wrapping up, and it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, man. I gotta respect the fact that it's 1 a.m. in the morning for you, so you gotta get some sleep. It's been almost 1 hour for us and for our audience, so we're gonna wrap up. But before we do that, I want to give you the red carpet and tell our audience what it is that you do, because I know but tell them exactly what it is that you do with your clients, how you could potentially help them, and where to find you. Obviously, all the links that you are mentioning will be down in the description, so feel free to share that.
Thank you, brother. So I'm interested in helping men become men. I think that it's not taught. Boys don't know how to become men. It's not taught to us. And I think there's a few things that create a boss man versus a bitch man, like a legend versus a loser. You could contrast it various ways, but you know the truth. You know, listening what we're talking about. And I think it matters how you carry yourself, how you think about yourself, and how you interact with other people, what your values are, how you treat yourself, and what your habits are, things like this. So right now we have a few things happening. There's too many to name. So basically, if you want to check out what we're doing, you can follow me on Instagram at it's Alex Walton, ITS Alex Walton, or you can go check me out on YouTube at Boss Life Blog, or on our website, it's alexwalton.com. So there we go. I haven't been plugging shit. You can see I'm unpracticed my plugs, but pretty much that's it right now. You know, just follow me, check me out. We're not really trying to sell too much right now. I'm just trying to get the message out there, man. I think that people don't know what we're talking about. You know, and you're trying to get it out too. I can see it, you know, but you know, it's guys like us who are just trying to like share it out. Yo, listen, we're trying to help, you know.
Definitely. And I think that for us, more than other people that are already more or less at the top of the pyramid, people can relate more. Because when you see people like Grant Cardone or like Russell Branson or like people like those, like authors, like 8-figure earners, you're like, yeah, man, but he's got that, he's got this, like he's 40 something, 50 something. Yeah, but like people like us, you can relate more to us. We might not have 7-8-figure income yet, but you can definitely relate to our positions and to our experiences. And you should take what we're saying, obviously with a grain of salt, but take into consideration that at the end of the day, what we spoke about is pure truth. And if you realize it for yourself now, you can take action, or wait till you're on your deathbed and you realize that the worst thing that you've done was not take action on this advice. And like, I'm more than certain that you get this advice from other individuals as well, but you know better than anyone what's better for you. So it's up to you what you want to do.
Beautifully said.
But Alex, with that said, it's been awesome talking to you. Hopefully the audience has taken some value out of it. I'm so pumped and excited for this to go. That is actually going to be out tomorrow. So for people listening on the release date, we've recorded this on Friday, which was yesterday. So yeah, with that said,
can I talk to you 2 seconds?
Yeah,
after
go on.
Podcast?
Yeah, definitely.
It's going to be exclusive. Only if you're on this Patreon are you going to get this shit, or whatever. Wherever your exclusive community is.
Definitely. And for everyone listening,
thank you.
This has been Pascu and Alex, and you guys stay grateful.
Thanks, Pascu. Amazing.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much for sticking all the way till the end. This shows that you are serious about taking your life to the next level and doing that through a perspective of gratitude. If you enjoyed this interview, it would help us massively if you could give us a 5-star rating review on iTunes, or else share this on your stories and tag us. This way, with your help, our message will be seen by more people, and together we will make this world a better place.